On the show, in Wheelspin, we drive the recently launched Fiat Avventura. In Wheelspin, we also ride the Triumph Daytona 675R. And on the road, we drive the Hyundai Verna from Jodhpur to Jaisalmer. What I have with me is the latest from Fiat, the Fiat Avventura. One look at it and you start wondering whether this is a full-blown sedan or an SUV, a question that I've been asked ever since I started driving it. The answer to that is that this is what is called in automotive parlance a crossover, part sedan, part SUV. But now the big question is, how well does it do the job of either? Let's find out. Fiat is on a comeback trail in India, and it's evident by the number of launches they have had this year. Starting with a refurbished Linea in the beginning of the year, they followed it up with the updated Punto, the Punto Evo recently, and now the brand new Aventura to add to their product portfolio. So how new is the Aventura? The Aventura here is based on another Fiat product, the Punto Evo, which was launched very recently, and that's the reason why you see so many similarities, including this reindeer headlamp here, and under the skin too things are very identical, including the power plant here, which is shared by both the Punto as well as this Aventura here, and many of the mechanical aggregates are same as well. But that's where the similarity ends, because the Aventura is positioned completely differently. It's a car which is meant to take you outdoors as well as drive you within the city. Platform sharing is a rather clever thing that most manufacturers practice, as it helps bring down both the cost as well as the time for development. And in Fiat's case too, this is what has helped the Aventura to come to life. But a very different body style helps it to cater to a new lifestyle segment, which encourages a completely different set of customers to acquire the Aventura, which certainly looks more adventurous and unconventional than a basic sedan or a hatch. And if the Aventura does succeed, then it will certainly create a new sub-segment in the Indian market. The Aventura 2 would be sold with both the diesel and the petrol engines, and what I'm driving today is a reliable, trusted 1.3-litre multi-jet from Fiat, which is doing duty on many cars across India and with many brands. The good part about this 1.3-litre multi-jet is that this is not only a very reliable engine, but it's also very fuel efficient. The fuel efficiency rate according to ARI certification is about 20.5 kilometers to a litre, and that's not bad. And on top of that, the power delivery is very linear, churns out about 200 Newton meters of torque, and this torque is very good for city driving as well as if you were to ever take this car off the road. Where the Aventura really stands differentiated from other products, especially the sedans, is in the fact that it comes with a very high ground clearance of about 205 millimeters, which means that the potholes should never bother you, and if you do ever decide to go off the road, then it shouldn't be a problem. In terms of ride and handling, the Aventura is quite sorted out. In fact, it's quite comfortable even in the back seat, while as if you spend time on the driver's seat, you will be rewarded with nice cornering abilities in this car, and the 16-inch wheels ensure that it stays planted very well. Both the petrol and the diesel engines are 16-valve DOHC units which churn out a peak power of 90 PS and 93 PS respectively. And the 1.4-litre petrol unit has an ARI certified fuel efficiency of 14.4 kilometers to a litre. The interiors of the Aventura, like most other Fiat products, is quite solidly built and gives you a nice, reassuring feel. What I'm driving is the top trim, and this comes with all the frills you will associate with the top trim, including a leather-wrapped steering wheel and leather-wrapped gear shift lever, plus 2 airbags. But the pity is that only the top trim gets airbags and there is nothing available for the lower 2 trims. And I just can't help emphasizing that a poor man needs as much safety as a rich man. So there should have been an option, at least, of an airbag in the lower trims. But then, to compensate for the lack of safety equipment, the Aventura has a host of features which are standard across the trims, like the Follow Me headlamps which switch off after a preset time and lights up your way in the dark, a rather useful feature. 16-inch alloy wheels, dual-tone dashboard, tilt-adjustable steering wheel which is adjustable only for height and not for reach, and a stylish roof rack which will allow you to carry your bicycles. And all these features does make the Aventura a lot more user-friendly. But what doesn't really help is the lack of electrically folding outside rear view mirrors, even in the top trim. The Aventura is rather compact and also narrow. And where this narrow becomes a problem is when you sit in the driver's seat and you look at the tunnel here. Fiat has done well to give you a dead pedal, but the problem is that being narrow, it kind of fouls up with the clutch pedal, and it will become a problem, especially if you have a big feet. And then I'm surprised to find something in a car specifically designed for India, which doesn't really work. The door pockets have a water bottle holder, but this is so narrow that you can't really keep a full 1-liter water bottle. And that, I think, is a bit of a problem again, because in India we do like to carry big water bottles. And Fiat, in an effort to make the interiors a little more appealing, have added on some instrumentation here, which basically includes a compass and what they call an inclinometer, to make it a little more appealing to the adventure junkies. But the fact is, this is completely redundant and it's done badly. It looks like a bad aftermarket job. And in these days of GPS, who really needs a compass? The Aventura does pack in a lot of very useful features, even in the base trim, but derived out of a hatch with only 2.5 meters of wheelbase. The big question is, does it provide enough space for the rear seats? In terms of rear seat space, the Aventura is a bit tight, although the seats are comfortable and well cushioned, but there's hardly any knee room, as you can see here. And if you were to put a third person on the third row of seats, things will get very tight. But the good part is that the seats do fold down, so in case you want to carry that extra bit of luggage, this is going to come in handy. And now it's time for me to walk outside and open the hatch and see what it looks like. What gives the Aventura a somewhat different look, at least from the rear, is the mounting of the stepney here, which is mounted on the tailgate. And this is what gives the Aventura a somewhat SUV-like rough and tough appearance. And this opens in a rather unconventional way. First you move this out and then you open the hatch. And once you open the hatch, you will be surprised to find that there is plenty of space to carry your weekend getaway stuff. The good part is that the Aventura is packaged rather well, and the price point is competitive with medium-sized hatchbacks and entry-level sedans, as it starts at Rs 5.99 lakhs for the base petrol. And if you compare the features with any base trim, you will find that the Aventura has more features to talk about than its competitors, and this is what makes it a deal. Plus the fact that it has 3 trims on offer for both the petrol and the diesel, and this does increase your choice. So overall, as a complete package, the Aventura is sure attractive, more so as it provides a completely different option to buying a regular car. If by launching the Aventura, Fiat had planned on giving you an alternative to buying a regular hatchback or a sedan, then I think they have succeeded to an extent, because the Aventura, with its different body style and a high ground clearance, does offer an alternative. So if you are sitting on the fence in between choosing a SUV or a regular hatchback or a sedan, then you would do well to have a look at this Aventura, because it does provide an alternative. Coming up next, in Wheelspin, we drive the Triumph Daytona 675R. And on the road, we drive the Hyundai Verna from Jodhpur to Jaisalmer.